Today we are dividing polynomials, so this is the first day in section 2.4. So we're just going to do a quick recap on long division. Again, this is something that we did last year. We're going to have to refresh your memory. So to go through long division, figure out, so 3 doesn't go into 1 at all, so I'm moving over to 13. 3 goes into 13 evenly 4 times. So then we multiply the 3 and the 4 and we get 12. Then we subtract and you get 1. We drop the 7. 3 goes into 17 evenly 5 times. 3 times 5 is 15. And we subtract. And I know I could put a 0.0 here and drop the 0. So this will become 20. 3 goes into 20 evenly 6 times. 6 times 3 is 18, and we could keep doing this, and I'll end up getting 0.6 repeating. So that's the idea of long division. So we're going to apply that to polynomials, and I know we did this last year, but we're going to step the difficulty level up significantly to compare to problems that we did last year. So here is our polynomial. So this is a very easy basic one just to kind of refresh your memory on it, and then we're going to step it up a notch. So here I'm taking an x plus 3 and I'm dividing it into x squared plus 10x plus 21. So I figure out how many times x goes into x squared, and that is x times. Once I determine that, I distribute, I multiply it. So I have x squared plus 3x. At this step we are subtracting, and it's important that we're subtracting the entire quantity. 10x minus 3x is 7x. And then we drop the 21. And x times what gives us 7x, and that would be a positive 7. And again, once I pick that, I distribute it. So 7 times x is 7x. 7 times 3 is 21. And again, I'm subtracting this entire quantity. So these are all going to cancel, and I'm left with 0, which means there's no remainder. So this problem divided easily. So that's a very easy basic one. The next two that we're going to do are going to be a little bit more challenging and more on a pre-calc level. So here we're dividing 4 minus 5x minus x squared plus 6x cubed by 3x minus 2. So 3x minus 2 goes on the outside. You should also notice that all your terms are out of order. You have to put them in standard form. So I have a 6x cubed. I have a negative x squared, a negative 5x, and a plus 4. So 3 goes into 6x cubed evenly 2x times 2x squared. And I distribute it, so I'll get 6x cubed minus 4x squared. And again, we are subtracting the quantity. This step is extremely important so you don't mess up your signs. So I have a negative 1x squared minus a negative 4x squared. So that double negative will cancel, and I'll get a 3x squared. And now I drop the negative 5x, so you're only dropping one term at a time. So now I figure out what goes up here, and that's going to be 1x to make it become 3x squared. So once I pick that, I distribute it. So I get 3x squared minus 2x. And I'm subtracting this quantity. So I have negative 5x minus a negative 2x is a negative 3x. And I drop the 4. Up here will be a negative 1, so that's what's going to give me that negative 3x. And I distribute it. And this will become plus 2. And now again I'm subtracting this whole quantity. So 4 minus 2 is 2. So if you remember from last year, once we have a remainder, we don't write r, we take our value that's our remainder and we leave it over 3x minus 2. And the reason we do that is, well, everything else divided evenly except that, so that remainder is left. It couldn't be divided evenly by the 3x minus 2. So that would be an example of a more difficult one. The terms are initially out of order, and we have a leading coefficient for what we're dividing by this time. So we're going to do one more challenging problem. So here we're dividing 6x to the 4th plus 5x cubed plus 3x minus 5 by 3x squared minus 2x. So notice the outside is now bumped up a degree. For our values underneath, not only do you have to be in standard form, if you're missing a term, you need a placeholder. So I have 6x to the fourth plus 5x cubed. We don't have any x squared plus 3x minus 5. So we're going to go ahead and start this process. So a 2x squared is what I would need to multiply by to get a 6x to the fourth power. So now I'll have 6x to the fourth minus 4x cubed. And again, we are subtracting this quantity. So 5 minus negative 4 will become 9x cubed plus 0x squared because I'm dropping that first term. So the next one will be plus 3x. So I'll get a 9x cubed minus 6x squared. And I'm subtracting this entire quantity. So 0 minus a negative 6 will become a positive 6x squared. Dropping that 3x. So 3x squared times 2 is what we'll need to give us that 6x squared. So I'll get 6x squared minus 4x. So 3 minus the negative 4 is 7x. And I drop the negative 5. At this point I can't go any farther because a 3x squared times nothing will give me a 7x. So we're now at that point where we've reached our remainder. So our remainder is 7x minus 5 all over 3x squared minus a 2x. So that would be an example of a more difficult type of problem in this section. So we're going to do some more practice on this, and then in tomorrow's lesson we're going to go over synthetic.